This isn't really a hot take, but recently a mod made me rethink just how much modding matters to the sim racing scene, and how certain mods, like important cultural works, actually inform, imprint on, and sometimes even change the culture of our, let's face it, preposterously niche hobby. And with the accommodation of modding looking less appealing to developers, it would seem, it's made me consider what we might stand to lose. Given that our lizard brain is easily distracted by the new shiny thing, more content is always appealing, and clearly the modding community in the likes of Assetto Corsa R-Factor 2 and Richard Burns Rally caters to that in spades. Now, content re-engages racers and keeps the community thriving, but it's not so much the quantity of the mod content, but the diversity that offers real value. Creating and licensing cars and tracks to put in racing sims is expensive, so the makeup of any title is going to be heavily dependent on cars and circuits that are impressive, familiar, and above all popular. F1, GT3, Spa, the Nordschleife, they're all staples in racing sims simply because they sell. Notwithstanding the small matter that most sim racing drivers aren't really capable of racing F1 machinery, they also claim they don't like GT cars, and Spa is a meme at this stage, and I'm unconvinced that the majority really know the last 2/3 of the green hell. But modders aren't tied by the same commercial concerns, and we're blessed with content that's overlooked by developers as a result. And that provides a greater diversity of sim racing experiences. Motorsport is a broad church. Circuit racing on tarmac, dirt, oval and road. There's rally, karting, historics, drifting, hill climb, toge, and so many more at a professional and amateur level. But on the sim side of things, it's really only the first part of that list that has any real level of commitment from the commercial developers. But thanks in no small part to the availability of mod cars and circuits from these disciplines, sim communities have formed, grown and thrived around what are arguably more niche forms of motorsport. Assetto Corsa has a vibrant drifting community as well as healthy toge and cruise scenes. And then there's frankly ancient titles like Grand Prix Legends and Richard Burns Rally that have been kept afloat and playable on modern machinery thanks to the efforts of modders. And in the case of the latter in particular, an impressive community has formed around a title that's legally old enough to rent the Far Cry movie. Renting a movie was still a thing. Not all mods are created to fill a void in the frustrated racing driver's sim collection. Take the mad Formula team's Formula Student cars. The first of these, based on their real-world car, was created during the pandemic lockdown as the real-world competition went virtual. And they did it again earlier this year with the supreme lunacy that is this fan car thing. And of course, they were used for testing and driver training for the real cars as well. And modding, in the loosest sense of the word, has been a useful tool for me as well, especially during preparation for the enduro car races that I took part in last year. Thanks to the mod-friendly nature of Assetto Corsa, I was able to adjust the parameters of an in-game car that was in the right ballpark, and it provided a sim experience that was impressively close to its much oranger real-life counterpart. This was a godsend, ensuring that I was on the pace and comfortable pushing right from the word go, despite the fact that I had roughly the same amount of track experience as I do in the field of air traffic control. If the realities of the market leave an open goal for creatives to make lovingly crafted representations of vehicles and race circuits that they love, then modding is art. And it's literally the age-old story of the underground providing something that the establishment deems unprofitable. It's punk, and the legalities surrounding licensing do very little to dissuade that comparison either. Summer blockbusters are great, but there's room for indie films, the likes of which the big studios would never make, which leads me to the car that inspired all of this. This is the Nardi Bisiluro by Nugget and Machina, and for me, more than any other, this car exemplifies why modding matters. No developer would ever commit the resources to producing a car like this. It's an unsuccessful one-off Le Mans entry from a manufacturer that's today best known for posh steering wheels, and on top of that it was entered into the tragic 1955 running of the Great Race. So let's be honest, it wouldn't shift enough units to cover the monthly hammock budget at an indie sim dev. But that barely scratches the surface of the weirdness. The twin torpedo design for which the car gets its name was conceived in the name of drag reduction, with the engine and drivetrain on one side and the madman at the wheel on the other. And then there's the engine, which produced about half the amount of power as a modern entry-level hatchback. There's the asymmetrical design, which is more catamaran than car, and a pretty inauspicious racing history to boot. 5 laps. That's all it managed before it was allegedly blown off the circuit by the wake from passing cars. In reality, the Nardi is a blip, a footnote in the history of endurance racing. Rarely remembered, in fact, but thanks to Nugget and Machina, it gets a new lease of life in Assetto Corsa, and thousands of frustrated racing drivers get to experience and enjoy a car that they'd likely only ever see glimpses of in historical photographs, if at all. Modding matters. Sure, the community loves content, but modding is a two-way relationship as well. And sims that allow for easy modding benefit from a highly engaged community that builds around them. User-generated content, aside from being a marketing buzzword, can be the gift that keeps on giving. The player base makes the game bigger and better, and then it markets the game as well. I mentioned Richard Burns' Rally earlier, but take a look at the continued relevance of Assetto Corsa, a title whose growth owes so much to the modding community. And 9 years on from its original release, it's more popular than ever, and more popular than its focused, modless successor. Now, of course, that's not all down to the mods, but the impact that they've had on its sustained success is pretty hard to ignore.